and thank you for joining us today. My name is Angela Cooper Brathwaite, and I'm the president of the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario. I will be moderating this webinar today. The structure for the webinar is as follows. We will hear from the candidates group by position that they are running for. Each candidate will have 5 minutes for opening remarks, followed by a 5-minute question and answer period. For the attendees, you will see a photograph of each candidate as they are speaking, unless other materials have been provided. Providing other materials was optional and not mandatory for candidates. If you would like to ask a question of the candidate, there are 2 ways to do so. I will open the floor for the questions, and you can verbally address your questions to the candidate using the phone. Please first say your name in case there are multiple questions, and I will address you in order. You can also submit your question by typing in the chat box at the bottom right of your screen. Type your questions there, and Ifra, our board coordinator, will assist in that today and will read your question. Feel free to type your questions at any point during the webinar as you think of them. Both candidates for each position will have the opportunity to address each question in rotating order. Candidates have 1 minute to respond to a question. Ifra will announce when the 15 seconds is left. If you go over this time, I will ask you to stop. Let's begin. And I would like first to say the slate of candidates. We have running for president-elect for today who would be speaking at this webinar, Morgan Hoffart. For Region 4 Representative, Anita Sang-Sit. For Representative of the Interest Group Chairs, Julie Rubble and Larissa Gaspy. So now I would ask Morgan to introduce herself to us and tell us about herself and why she's running for the president-elect. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Angela, and thanks for everybody who was able to join us on this webinar today. My name's Morgan Hofarth, and I'm a registered nurse from London, and I'm interested in running for the position of president-elect for the RNAO Board of Directors. Just so people know a little bit about me, I grew up on a dairy farm in Kincardine, which is in Bruce County. I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing from McMaster University, and then completed my Master's of Science in nursing from York University. Early in my career, I began working as a registered nurse as part of a family health team, as well as doing some community pediatric work. I then moved to work in a hospital environment, so worked in acute medicine and the emergency department of London Health Science Centre here in London, at which point in my career I moved to work for a tertiary psychiatry program. So I worked as a clinical nurse specialist in the psychosis program, and then became the coordinator of the treatment and rehab program, which is what the psychosis program was renamed when we moved into a new building. And right now I'm the coordinator of the complex care, within the complex care program at St. Joseph's in the medically complex service. I've been involved in RNAO since I was a student. So my first kind of exposure to RNAO during my undergraduate was at the Queen's Park Day, which really was a great eye-opener for me about the power of nursing and the power of our collective voice as a professional association. So I was able to meet with the political leaders, to meet with the MPPs from my area, and to engage with other registered nurses when I was a nursing student to kind of understand the policy work and the political advocacy that nurses can be involved in. I then, once I graduated and became registered, became involved with my chapter, so at which point was the Perth chapter, so became involved on their chapter executive. When I moved to London, I became involved in the Middlesex Elgin chapter. So have been involved in many different E&O positions. I worked, did some policy and political action work, membership. I've been the chapter president for a couple of terms, and most recently I've had the opportunity to serve as the Region 2 Board of Directors rep. Being on the board has been a really valuable experience for me. It's really helped me to understand governance a lot more in depth and to understand kind of the policy work and how the association runs. It's really important to me to be a membership-driven association and to represent the membership. And I take my board of directors role really seriously in representing what I believe the members from Region 2 that I currently represent would think, and as the president-elect would look to represent what the membership, so what the over 42,000 RNs, NPs, and nursing students that make up RNAO would want from the association and what they think is valuable for them as nurses and for the people and the patients and populations and communities that we serve. I think every nurse is a leader, and this is a really great opportunity to demonstrate nursing leadership as someone who is involved in a direct care leader role in my work, to also demonstrate that I can be a leader of a professional association and demonstrate to all nurses within our professional association what leadership is, what that looks like, and also to lead the members as a member of the association. And I think that's all. I know I had 5 minutes, but that's that's why I'm running, to be the president-elect.
Thank you, Morgan. So I'll now open the floor for questions.
If you could press *6 to unmute your line if you have any questions.
If there are no questions, we will move to the next candidate, Region 4 Representative, Anita Sang-Sit.
Thanks, Angela. Sorry, does someone have something to say first?
Sorry, yeah, I just have a question for Morgan. It's Larissa on the line. I just wanted to know if Morgan could chat a little bit about being from the western part of the province and more of a rural kind of big spread, how she feels that will benefit her as president-elect.
Hi, Larissa. Thanks for the question. So I think being from a more rural area, so I do live in a city. I live in London. I did grow up in Bruce County and did some of my undergraduate nursing placement in Bruce County and have worked in Stratford, which is still a city, but more in a rural area. And I think understanding the issues that impact nurses across the province is really important as the RNAO president-elect and then the RNAO president. So I think I don't claim to know all of the issues that impact all nurses everywhere, but I think it's really important to understand from the members the issues that impact them and to be really engaged with the membership. So going and meeting with members, seeing the places that they work across the province, and looking at health as a resource and what that looks like both in a large urban center but also in a rural center, and how people there maybe access healthcare differently, and helping to advocate for equity of access across the province.
Thank you, Morgan. Any other questions for her?
We don't have any questions online at the moment.
Okay, so we'll next move to the next candidate running for Region 4 Representative. And I'll ask Anita to introduce herself and say something about why she is running for this position.
Thanks, Angela. Thanks, Ifra. So I'm Anita, and so I am running for Region 4 representative. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a registered nurse for approximately 12 years, and I don't know if people have had a chance to look at my bio, but my career has taken me to many sectors and experiences in the hospital, in public health, risk management, and within the community. I've been an RNAO member since I was a student because I'm very passionate about political action and emerging issues in healthcare. The experiences that I've gained in the last 14 years as a member has provided me opportunities to learn and build on skills that really I don't think I can get in a workplace setting. I've been an avid member of the Peel chapter and moved into roles from communications to the chapter president. Through these roles, I was able to learn and expose myself to much more of our profession, from hearing from our members, speaking to politicians, and also implementing new programs and initiatives. The Home Office has always been instrumental in advancing nursing with the research, media releases, backgrounders. I want to run for the Region 4 Board of Director role because I want to be part of the team who helps to further advance RNAO nursing and is pivotal in the healthcare landscape. Recently, I was a Hub Fellow in 2017 and had the opportunity to spend time with Doris and the board, which really furthered my interest in this role. A nursing experience in the various sectors will help me speak to emerging issues and contribute to dialogues about our positions on issues. In particular, my strength in risk management has allowed me to analyze positive and negative risks from a holistic perspective and also how it intersects with different areas. I am currently a manager of risk operations and enterprise risk management at Toronto Community Housing Corporation. I look forward to serving our members and any questions that you may have for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. So I'll now open the floor for questions to Anita.
Again, that's *6 to unmute your line if you have any questions.
If there are no questions, then we'll move to the next candidates, representatives of the interest group chairs. So I will ask Julie Rebel to tell us something about herself and why she's running for this position.
Oh, lovely. Sorry, I had a little trouble unmuting myself. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie Rubel, and I'm interested in being the representative for the interest group chairs. I've prepared a few slides to help me kind of keep track of my thoughts and be sure that I share a little bit about myself. And so thank you for this opportunity this morning, and then thank you for joining us, those who have had the opportunity. So I have also been a member of RNAO since being a student. That seems to be a running theme this morning. I was sponsored as a student to join both an interest group and RNAO at the same time, and so it's been a very exciting 15 years for me. And certainly I share the other candidates' enthusiasm with respect to the power of nursing, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the coming slides. So I have also moved between sectors. So I began in long-term care, and certainly caring for older adults is my passion and my area of expertise. And so I worked for a period of time in long-term care in a couple of different leadership positions, and then moved into the long-term care / community sector, working in an adult day service for older adults, particularly those folks who have dementia. And then my current role is inpatient geriatric assessment as a nurse clinician / case manager for Niagara Health in the Niagara region. What I wanted to speak about next is my role as GNAO president. So this is my acronym slide, if you will. So I have had the good fortune for the past 4 years to serve as president of Gerontological Nursing Association Ontario, which has given me the opportunity to be a member of the General Assembly for RNAO, which has been very, very professionally rewarding. And also, I would echo Morgan's comments about the idea of understanding the power of nursing. This position, the GNAO position, has also given me an opportunity to be involved nationally through the Canadian Gerontological Nursing Association, again, understanding the power of nursing to shape not only your local practice and then provincially and as well as nationally. I've also had the opportunity to chair a provincial conference committee, which was a very new learning experience, but gave me lots of new leadership skills and new coordination skills that I didn't possess prior to that. If we'll advance to the next slide. With respect to, who am I as a leader, I would suggest that I'm very collaborative, so I really am about understanding the strengths of the folks that I'm working with and using all of our strengths to be able to make our decision, make our teams stronger. I tend to be very thoughtful in decision making. I tend not to rush, and I think I'm trying to be really inclusive of those who are around me and their ideas. And I think probably my greatest strength as a leader is really speaking about my passion. I lead from a place of passion. Certainly, care of older adults is my absolute place of passion. I'm also very committed to the future of our profession, and I would say that my continued membership in the RNAO has demonstrated that. And so there was a slide that suggests these 6 words that are and actions that are imperative to the work of RNAO. And so I've taken these words and thought about how it might relate to my role as an interest group representative to the board. And so thinking about influencing, so building on the existing relationships that interest groups have with key stakeholders across sectors and really using those relationships in a way that helps us to build our influence. Looking at encouraging the interest groups to continue to share their wisdom and experience with emerging trends and issues, again, to further the work of RNAO and creating mechanisms to strengthen their ability to be able to do that. Not to suggest we're not doing this already, but again, to strengthen. Continue to partner with interest groups to support initiatives for change through advocacy efforts. And then if we could advance to the final slide. I think this idea of connection, and this is something that I'm very passionate about, so continuing to connect and build further relationships between interest groups. So there's more than 30 interest groups, and how can we help those interest groups to build relationships to work together on common interests and opportunities to collaborate? Really thinking about, from a protection perspective for interest groups, how do we help them to form succession plans to enable stable leadership for interest groups? Even in my own interest group, which is one of the more robust, we also struggle with succession planning. So how can we strengthen interest groups' abilities to be able to stabilize leadership going forward? And finally, I really believe in the passion of students, and I think there's some great examples of how RNAO involvement as a student on the line today. So really, how do we engage with interest groups to engage students to build, to demonstrate the value of interest group participation, but also to build the future of RNAO. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Anita. Sorry, Julie.
That's okay.
And now I'll open the floor for questions.
It's *6 to unmute your line if you have a question.
If there are no questions, we'll move to the next candidate, and it's Larissa Gaspy. And I'll ask Larissa to tell us something about herself and why she's running for this position.
Hi, everyone. I'm Larissa. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us for the webinar today. It's great hearing from all the candidates and just really hearing the passion that we all share for RNAO and for nursing overall. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I graduated from McMaster University and started working in pediatrics, and that's where I've really spent my career. Working in pediatric oncology and moving to some outpatient clinics, general pediatrics, adolescent medicine. Right now I'm in general neurology, and it's really been an incredible experience. I'm very passionate about pediatrics and where I work. I also did my master's with McMaster School of Nursing as well, and through that really focused on research and teaching, and had some really incredible opportunities to be able to shadow various leadership roles within the hospital setting, as well as spend some time in the academic setting teaching and training our next generation of nurses, which is very exciting. And then I proceeded to take the next step and do my nurse practitioner post-grad diploma at the University of Toronto with a specialty in pediatrics. And so now I work as a nurse practitioner at McMaster Children's Hospital in neurology. It's been quite a growing, learning challenge for me. It's been a great opportunity, and I'm so thankful for the colleagues that I work with and just for the nurses that we rub shoulders with every day. Really, regardless of where you're at within, whether you're an RN, whether you're a nursing student, whether you're a nurse practitioner, whether you're a clinical nurse specialist, whether you're a nurse manager, I feel like we all really strengthen the care that we're able to give our patients, because we're all, from that foundational nursing lens. And so I'll tell you a little bit about, so that's my clinical background. My experience with RNAO actually started as a student, and I think, all of us are saying that, which really shows the power of this association and how incredible it is to be able to be a part of it. I did a board of directors student placement in my final year of my undergrad, which was incredible to see the board of directors around the table, how they worked, conversations that happened there. It was so inspiring, and I said to myself, one day I'll be, that's my goal, and so then I got involved with the Pediatric Nurses Interest Group shortly after, and spent some time as their education rep, spent some time working with membership, and then became their president. And that group, when I kind of got involved with it, we were really struggling. And over the 2 to 3 years that I was their president, we really worked so hard to be able to network and build those strong links within our executive. As Julie mentioned, whether you're a smaller interest group or a robust interest group, the succession planning really can be a challenge. And so I'm so proud of the work that this interest group has done since I've left that executive, to really maintain that momentum and really build strong linkages in all of the major children's hospitals in the province. It's really something that I'm very proud of, and I think has been a real testament to the strength of RNAO, because what kept us going was being grounded in the RNAO Assembly, attending the interest group chair meetings, and really learning from the other interest group chairs that were there and supporting them. I'm now the founding co-chair of the Nurse Practitioner Interest Group, which has been a new experience all on its own, trying to start an interest group from scratch. And I'm currently finishing up a 2-year term on the board of directors, and wow, it's been the highlight of my career, having opportunity to be on the board. And so I'm hoping to be able to continue that, as there's so much work to be done. And really, interest groups are at a very unique position right now, as the board structure has changed. And so now that there is no longer the member-at-large positions, interest groups are really in have a unique opportunity to be able to engage with RNAO activities like they haven't before. And so I'm so excited to be able to continue that work and really draw on the expertise of the various interest groups they have and bring them to the table and really strengthen our collective voice as nursing. And so if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Send me an email. If you don't think of it right now, I'd be happy to chat further with you. I just thank you for the opportunity, and I hope that you guys all take time to vote using the one member, one vote system, and I'm excited to see you guys at the AGM.
Thank you so much, Larissa. And now I'll open the floor for questions to Larissa.
It's Morgan. I have a question.
Please go ahead, Morgan.
So my question is about the unique contribution that you could bring to the board of directors as a nurse practitioner. So as you mentioned, the member-at-large positions have been eliminated, and nurse practitioners are an important part of RNAO. What do you see as the value of being a nurse practitioner on the board of directors?
Thanks so much for the question. Am I unmuted? I don't.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Sorry, I forgot if I unmuted. Thanks so much for the question and for it's a deep one, but I'll try to keep it short. So I feel, it's been such a privilege this past 2 years to be able to be a nurse practitioner on the board of directors because we really have representation from all of the membership that RNEO represents. RNEO represents nursing students, RNEO represents RNs, and RNEO represents NPs. And so from that nurse practitioner perspective, each of those three categories, we all have experiences as students, as RNs, as NPs that the others perhaps don't have just because we're in different circles within our clinical and managerial practice. And so to keep it really simple, it's just that, as a nurse practitioner, I'm able to bring a different perspective as I am at that point of diagnosis. I'm ordering tests. I'm, making treatment plans, and I'm working with these patients to develop their plans. And so because of that, I'm able to liaise with communities in different ways and know a lot of the gaps that are there, not all of them, but a lot. And so I think when we have representation from nursing students on the board of directors, from RNs on the board of directors, and as well as NPs on the board of directors, that's when we're our strongest because we're able to see our profession from all the different angles and really come together as a collective voice to not advocate necessarily for ourselves, but on behalf of our patients and what they need. Because when we keep that at the core, I think that's when we can be our strongest, making sure that, when we're advocating for Ontarians, speaking out for nursing, but it's also speaking out for health. And so when we have those three groupings together, I feel like that's why, how we can be the strongest. And so it's been an honor, and I hope to be able to continue that.
Thank you, Larissa. Any other questions for her? Since there are no more questions, I would just like to thank the candidates for participating today in this webinar and answering questions, giving your reflection of what your contributions to RNO would be if you are elected. I also want to say this webinar and future webinars would be archived on my RNO, and you can find a link to them on the election page. The One Member, One Vote will open March the 26th at noon and ends on April the 11th at noon. Please remember to vote and remind your nursing colleagues to vote as well. And again, I really enjoy listening to the different perspectives, what you are offering RNO members, present and future members. And I wish you great success in your elections. Thanks again for your participation, and have a great day.
Thanks so much, Angela. Bye.